Well, there you go, Daniel. That's the Christmas album.
That's right.
That's absolutely beautiful production.
Thank you very much. Yes,
well, listen, you're very welcome to
Thank you.
A Little Bit of Ireland. Thank you very much.
Nice to be here. Nice to see you.
Taking the time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you.
And the bad weather and all that.
I know, but sure, it's all part of the festive look, you know.
Well,
I thought you put the snow on specially for me.
Well, you know, well, I hope it don't last too long. It's a bit of a disruption. But listen, you've just come back from Branson.
That's right, yeah.
What was the weather like there?
It was lovely. We go to Branson every year in November, and they have different weather to us. It was very, very warm. But different to us again then, in November there, they do Christmas shows from the beginning of November right through till the middle of December. So it's quite strange, you know, hearing all the Christmas music so early.
Yeah.
And we did a show this year. We did a part Christmas show, similar to what we're doing here on the tour and at home in Ireland. And we don't do it every year when we go there, but this year we did, so it was enjoyable.
And I know now you've been back to Branson many, many times.
Yes, we started going in '97, and we had a few years when I suppose we were just trying to build up. It wasn't really until we got our shows on public television in America that the audience grew.
Yeah.
And it's tremendous, really.
You have a massive following in America.
We have a very good following in the States, I must say. Now we're very, very lucky. And, you know, there's so many people in America and Canada that you only need to scrape the surface, you know, and, you know, we shows in Canada as well. And it really is great. Branson, I suppose, is unique. I would love to have a place like Branson on this side of the world because people, you know, there's a number of theatres and people go for, you know, 2, 3, 4, up to a week, you know, days, and they just travel from everywhere and they see lots of shows. So it's great, I suppose, from a show point of view because you're in one place for so long and you can put on a more extravagant show.
Yeah. Daniel, you've been a massive success for over 20 years. Did you ever think that this would be so big?
Well, I suppose the quick answer to that is no. I mean, it's actually, since I started with Margaret now in January this year, it'll be 30 years since I started with Margaret in our band, and I had a couple of years with her, and then started with my own band in '83. And again, I suppose it took a while to get things going, but about '86 was when we saw the difference, or whatever happened in '86. And from there on, it just, you know, grew and grew, and very fortunate. I mean, I never
Do you sometimes wake up and pinch yourself? Absolutely.
And, you know, sometimes I think that, you know, you look back on things and you think, did that really all happen, you know?
I mean, so much has happened.
From the dances, starting out doing the dances, you know, and then moving into cabaret, and then into the concerts, which we have done concerts now for, you know, fully since about 1992, and tremendous altogether. I mean, it's all down really to the people who support the shows and everything that has allowed me and all the band to have such great times.
Do you think you were very fortunate to have met Mick Clerkin way back in those days?
At the time, yes, I met Mick. I suppose that, you know, when I look back on things, to be in the right place at the right time, I think in any career or whatever you choose to do is very important. And I've had a lot of them instances because I met Mick through the festival, the Irish Festival in London. I did that in '84, and Mick was there, and then we made a record with Ritz towards, it was released in '85, or maybe late '85. That was called The Two Sides of Daniel O'Donnell. One of them was country, mostly country music, and the other was Irish type songs. And at the end of '85, I didn't see much difference, you know, and it was very difficult. We weren't getting great crowds, and I remember going to see Mick, kind of saying to him that I didn't know whether I was going to continue or not. I thought I would need to have a look at a proper job. And he said, well, you know, he says, I think we should give it another go. and maybe change your band and go off the road for a while. And we did that in January 86. And then in March 86 we came back with 4 of us now that were in that band are still together. Ronnie Kennedy and John Staunton and Tony Murray and myself. And our first show was down in St Cyprian's Club in Brockley, down just outside London. And really it was like switching on a light. We went home then, and our first show in Ireland, our first dance in Ireland, was in the Milford Inn in County Donegal. And now prior to that, we had very small crowds. And this is, if I can take you back to New Year's Eve, 1985, 86, that new year, we did a dance in Cavan, and the Farnham Arms it was. And we got whatever was on the door, whatever money. Now it was £5 in, or whatever it was, pounds or punts or whatever they were. And we've changed currencies that much that we don't know whether we're coming or going. But there was £163 taken on the door. Now somebody got in for less than a fiver. Because where would you get £3? Maybe go £1, you never know. That was that year. And the following, so that if you count that up, that was only maybe 30-something people on a New Year's Eve. That's terrible. And the following year we had 1,400 people in Hilton.
So obviously a lot happened between that
one year to the next. And that was really the beginning of it that year then. And I suppose then I met Sean Riley, my manager, through Mick. I met him, it'll be 30 years now in January since Sean and I got together. And that, all of the people...
That was a good move at the time.
Absolutely. I couldn't have met a better man to manage me than Sean. I suppose in the music business it can be very much a business, and the difference with Sean is that as well as, I suppose, having a business, he was very aware of a person on the other side of the camera or the mic or whatever, and whatever I wanted to do or whatever I didn't want to do, maybe more important, it was okay. I think the time that I realised it most was in 91, 92, when I really, from 86 to that, I did everything. I open things in the morning and I close them in the afternoon, and if I was asked to open an envelope, I'd go and open it, it didn't matter.
For free.
I felt that because I suppose I was so lucky to get to do what I was doing, that I should do everything for everybody. And in the end I just turned out to be exhausted, and my voice began to give trouble, and I had to take time off. And when I suddenly had to stop at New Year 91, 92, coming into 92, Mick and Sean, at that time I went to Sean and I told him that I had to take a break because I'd been to see a doctor, and he said, how long do you need? I said, I'm going to need about 6 months. That was fine. And Mick, and I know there was like, I don't know how many shows sold out over here and things at home, and there was never a question.
It would have been a very difficult situation to
but I never felt the difficulty, and I think that's why I feel so grateful for the people that I was involved with, and that comes right through. Generally, I have nothing, to say about the music business that's bad. I know some people have bad experiences, but I've been very fortunate, down through the years, thank God.
And of course there'll be the exchange of presents and the usual party.
Okay, there is, but we caught on about that present carry on, because you'd be getting a whole lot of things, that you don't need. So we kind of came to an agreement among ourselves that we wouldn't be, buying a whole lot of presents, and so we limit what we get, but we have a lovely time, and I suppose Christmas is that time of year when you can just lie back and do nothing and watch all the old films and TV or movies.
Just completely chill out.
Yes, it's great.
And will you take the period of January now?
Yes, we're off. Usually I would take longer. Usually I'd take nearly up to March, but this year we're doing a show.
Would you not feel guilty about sitting at home for that length of time?
Oh God, not at all.
No.
Not at all. I wouldn't feel guilty at all, sure. I wouldn't be sitting at home and I would be playing golf in Tenerife, so I wouldn't even be in the cold.
Yeah.
But this year we're going to be doing shows. In February we're doing a show at the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville. We were supposed to do this last year in June at the Grand Ole Opry. And then the flooding happened and the show was cancelled. It's been taped for public television in the States, you know, and it'll be a DVD here. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. I mean, to get to sing, anybody that knows anything about country music, to get to sing at the Ryman Auditorium is a great honour. You know, I suppose if I had a choice, of course the Opry is super, but the Ryman is where it all began. That's where the Opry started, and they still take the Opry back there from time to time. And then we do shows in Florida in February and North and South Carolina. So, and then we're back here in the UK. In March we do shows in Bundoran in March, and then we come over here for a series of shows end of March, beginning of April.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll have more time off.
You have another rest.
To practice the golf.
Yeah. Well, you must keep that going.
I know, but should I have to get a bit of money somewhere?
Huh?
Put on the wager on the golf and get the few pound.
There's no doubt about it that clearly you're very passionate about what you do. That comes across in all the live shows. And in fact, probably at this stage, if somebody said, we have to do it for nothing because we can't afford to pay you, you would do it because...
Well, I have done it, I suppose,
that
at times.
across.
But I enjoy it. I've always have. I suppose, like most singers, the reason for singing in the beginning is because you love singing. You love the whole, whatever it brings to you. And I was very much like that. I mean, when I started out, I should really have been singing pop music. Right. You know, I shouldn't have been singing what I'm singing, the type of music, because Madonna was on the go, and I suppose Spandau Ballet and Duran Duran, all them groups, Boy George, they were all in the one time, you know, that when I started. And the music that I chose was not maybe what the people that was my age, the majority of them were listening to, but I loved it, and I just believed in what I was doing. So I wanted to sing what made me happy and what fulfilled me as a person, and that was my motivation. So, you know, to be successful doing it then was tremendous. Yeah. But a lot of the time people say, well, would you not like to do something, you know, that is not so safe? When I started it was like walking away from the direction I should have been going. Yeah. So I made the choice, you know, it wasn't like it was a sure thing. A very wise choice. A very wise choice for me. Yeah. Very wise choice for me. And you know, there's no formula for it. People will say to me, well, what did you do, or what do you think we should do? There's no formula for success. The only thing I would say to anybody, and this is what I say to any young person who's wanting to do it, is to be yourself and sing what you believe in. And I tell the story about 1985 that I told you about, you know, and we had a van repossessed, couldn't pay the hire purchase or whatever it was. They took all the equipment. You know, all of these things happen to everybody, or the majority of people. There's no way that you just get it. I mean, X Factor maybe brings it to some, but the general rule of thumb is that you have to get out there, you know, make a record if you can, and get it on the radio if you can, and you never know who hears it. Yeah. And just believe in what you're doing, and don't try to be like somebody else. I think that's the main thing. No matter if you're Gareth Brooks or Jim Reeves or whoever it might be, if you're never going to be as good as them, even if you're better, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Because the people that like Jim Reeves, there's nothing to touch him, or the people that like Gareth Brooks, or the people that like what I'm doing, or Cliff Richard, whoever, you're only going to be a poor imitation, always, of the person you're trying to be like. Be yourself, and do it. Now, I have to take one exception to that and say Gary Gamble, you see, because Gary Gamble does me nearly better than I do myself.
He's very good. Isn't
Sometimes I'd be afraid when I'm standing beside him, wondering, am I talking or is he talking?
Yeah. Daniel, the new album, the DVD and CD for Christmas, Oh Holy Night, absolutely beautiful production. Yet again, Rosette Records, marvellous. Congratulations. It's right up the charts at the moment.
Well, I suppose that the album is very in keeping with this time of year. It's mainly the carols that we would have grown up with, certainly I would, and songs that you can't go wrong with them. Yeah. There's 3 songs that wouldn't be, I suppose, considered carols as such. Remember Me as a song was written by Fergal Flaherty, who sings in the Hole in the Wall Bar in Tenerife, and he has his own CDs, writes some great songs, and I loved it when I heard it and wanted to record it. Mary Did You Know is a song that I heard in Branson. A lot of the singers do it in their Christmas shows, and I suppose it's a more contemporary approach, yeah, and a great song too. And then Christmas Day 1915, a lot of Irish people will be familiar. I don't know how familiar outside Ireland people are of the song, but it talks about, or it documents the events of during World War I, when the German and British soldiers came together. It's said that the British soldiers heard the Germans sing Silent Night in the trench, and they joined in, and eventually both sides came out and laid down their arms and spent a period in peace and, I suppose, together. And I do think about it, when I'm singing the song, and especially when I started listening to it and when I heard it first, and I thought, what an incredible experience that must have been to witness for the soldiers, even though they knew, I suppose, they were going to go back to war, for that period of peace and tranquility, yeah, and that respite from the bloodbath that they were all involved in. And I just think the song is tremendous, yeah, and one that I wanted to record. So
yeah, certainly left your mark. Daniel, I wish we could talk all day. We know you're on a very busy schedule, and of course with the snow and things like that, we don't want to hold you up. But listen, we are so grateful that you've taken the time out to come and see us here. We know that you've put yourself out. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks to Mike and Joe, of course, your right-hand man there. And we wish you a very happy and peaceful Christmas, the family. Say hello to Julia for us.
Will do.
And God bless you. And Daniel O'Donnell, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and thanks to yourself and everybody here for all you're doing for the music business, especially all the Irish guys and gals. We appreciate it very much, and it's wonderful to be heard and seen. We have to try to look our best whenever we get this far. So we made a huge effort, so I hope you appreciate it.
Just before you go, Daniel, do you want to wish our viewers
a happy
Christmas?
Just to say Happy Christmas to everybody. I hope that you have a wonderful Christmas and that you get to spend it with those who mean most to you, and all the best for the new year. And I hope that we'll see you sometime during 2011.
Daniel O'Donnell, thank you so much.
Thanks a million.